I was just wondering about today's practice. Did the plan or progression of the practice plan change in light of last night's game, and if so, how?
No, it was our first good practice in a while. So between the road trip and travel, and so we needed a good practice. We just had to touch on a few things that we think are important to our game, and that's what we did today.
But by good practice, do you mean performance of the players, or just having the time to put in what you wanted to?
Both.
Both. Okay.
We had good discussion with the players this morning, and then good practice. So hopefully we address some things in our game that have to improve, and some things that we like, and keep building.
Just going to throw in one more. You know, we just talked to Mikko, obviously, in light of last night's big game. Both your goalies have been very good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been kind of day by day with talking to us about the plan. Mikko said it's kind of that way with them. They're a little different personalities, at least from dealing with them as a media member.
That would be an understatement.
Mikko might be a little. What have you kind of noticed about their personalities and their dynamic?
Both very engaging in their own way. You know, and obviously I have a background with Schmitty, so I know I've known him since he's been a rookie player. So we go back a long way, but very different personalities, but both have a real passion to play and a passion to win. And you know, we feel like I felt like coming into the season, if we managed both these guys well, we should give them both the best chance to be successful on every night. You know, so you're trying to make sure they're rested, make sure that, you know, they get enough practice time. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's so far so good. Goaltending's been solid for us, both guys.
Just to add on that, do you think that kind of exemplifies just more of a league-wide trend to kind of the 1A, 1B just becoming more universal for teams?
You know, I think it's a little bit of necessity. It depends on who you have. You know, if you have a bona fide number one that has established that role, then usually that guy's going to get the bulk of the games. But for our situation with our schedule and our travel, I don't mind the way it sets up at all. You know, so both guys can be fresh. You know, Schmitty played a heck of a game in Chicago the other night, but we got home real late, and Schmitty played a couple games, so it was a no-brainer to put Kosk in. He's fresh, and we got a great game out of him last night.
Your team's averaging 33 shots against. As a coach,
that went up a little last night. We were actually pretty decent. Our shots for and our shots against, we were only about
difference of about 7 or 8.
Yeah, and they were going into yesterday's game. We were a lot closer, so I'll look at that objectively.
How much you're riding, obviously, Connor and Leon and some other people. At what point do you say, okay, your bottom 6 guys are doing a great job of defending, but we need a little bit of offense? You just can't go out to stop teams. You also got to every now and then chip in.
I think that'll play out. You know, the bottom 6 guys, if you'd ask what is their main role coming in, is to play quality minutes for us and really help our penalty kill, and I think you've seen that. So would you like to see them get on the board? I'm sure they'd like to get on the board. I mean, everybody wants to get on the board. But first and foremost, they have a role to play in our team, and they're helping us win. So in that sense, they should feel good about what they're doing, but ultimately everybody wants to chip in. But I haven't seen a lot of situations like this where usually teams will have 2 pretty good power plays that one gets hot and the other, like, it's hard to argue against those guys that have been together for a few years going out there, and they take up a lot of the time. So you don't get a lot of there's not a lot of second power play unit that gets to get those chances or chip in some points there. And, you know, it'd be easy to say, okay, take those guys off and put a second unit on, but when you're clipping along at the percentages we are, there's not much use to change right now.
Dave, I know you were pleased with Brandon Manning yesterday, but what does that say about just his character and his demeanor after he's kind of been in limbo for a little bit, and then he gets in and contributes like that last night?
You know, I wouldn't say he's been in limbo. What he is he's a great teammate, and he's accepted a role there. And, you know, he's a good veteran player. He knows the league well. He's, You know, he accepts that role. He works hard every day. And you saw it last night when he gets that goal against his old team, the players are really happy for him. Like that, they understand how hard that role is and how hard it is just to jump in and away you go. But they're happy for a guy like that because he's a good teammate, he works hard, and understands that he's got to be ready all the time. And there's times when he doesn't get to play, and he accepts that. Not that he has to like it, but he knows that's his role. So our group was really happy for him last night.
Dave, you've seen Connor as an opposing coach. Now you have the luxury of having him on your team. What's it been like watching him practice and play and having him at your disposal, you know, watching his creativity, his speed, his work ethic? What's it been like?
Well, he's an elite player. You know, as far as practice goes, he drives the pace of practice, which I like. And, you know, there's other players on our team that I know take that to heart. Like Darnell Nurse wants to practice hard because he sees Connor practice hard, and he brings that pace for our defensemen. So it's infectious. Like the speed that he plays the game and his talent is one thing, but his desire to be the best and his desire to win are things that if you're not around him every day, you don't get a real sense of that. So from a coaching standpoint, you know, I laugh at people who say, well, you got Connor McDavid. Yeah, we might as well use him. We got him, right? So, I mean, it's a tool that we have, and I love that he's trying to be the best player in the world, and he works on it every day, and he wants the team to win. And when you're around him every day, those things continue to come out.
Dave, you talked about, just going back to Manning, you talked about his teammates' reaction to that goal. He wasn't always a popular figure here. You know, just going back a few years ago, there was a bit of a feud with him and McDavid. That's obviously been buried. But were you aware of that situation? And if so, how do you think he's handled it, McDavid's handled it?
I think somebody asked me about that early when I came here, and obviously, you know, you were aware of it before, but that hatchet was buried a long time ago. You know, he's a good teammate in that room. There's no animosity there at all, nothing. He's a good pro. That's the way hockey players are. It's not, play hard against each other. You don't have a grudge against each other. Not very often, anyway.
He said he had to switch off his social media.
Yeah, I'm not on social media, so I don't know anything about that. I'm not sure what that would entail, so I'm the wrong guy to ask there.
Do you want to get Haas back in the game?
Yeah. When would you like to do that?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
We'll see.
And you only have 6 defensemen, so I presume it.
Yeah, I think somebody's on their way today.
What about another forward? Do you need another forward?
You've
got 2. You've only got one extra one.
One extra forward, yeah.
Do you need a second?
Not right now, because you want Haas to go in. If we pull another one, now you got another choice. He's only got. So now you got a third. You got a third. If we get another forward, then there's only a third chance of him playing. Right now, there's a 50% chance of him playing. Yeah. So if you want him, I would say leave the other forward in Bakersfield.
Okay.
All right.
And why has he not been playing? What didn't you see or whatever?
Trying something different. We wanted to see Granlund in the middle there to see how it went.
Okay.
So, and it never hurts. Like Hoster, he's a real student. Doesn't hurt him to watch a couple games up there just to see how things are going down there. But.
And do you need a center in the bottom 6 who can drive a line or provide a little bit more offense than just somebody who hacks and kills penalties?
Yeah, ideally. You know, somebody that you know, we just need stability on those bottom 2 lines. I actually liked the way Nuge's line played last night. I thought they were last night I felt all right about them, but after I watched the game again, went through the chances and stuff, they were a strong line. So that was a positive sign. So now we continue to tinker, but Sheehan's line gave us some good minutes last night. Granlund took a couple penalties. Line was just okay. So we'll see where it goes tomorrow.